Welcome to another episode on the channel. Today we dive right into the launch of new graphic cards for AMD and how much of the market they can gain with if it is a successful launch. We have seen from some of the biggest YouTubers in the content creation of testing GPUs, CPUs, etc., that the graphic cards seems to perform very good in comparison with NVIDIA cards that are actually a bit more expensive, meaning that the potential for gaining market share here is quite good for AMD if they continue to actually provide the price of $599 for the 1970 XT graphics cards. We will use ChatGPT here just to do our analyze, and I will comment next to it. So let's get straight down to business here. So first we just have to know how big is the GPU market. GPU is graphic cards market. So they're saying like 2025 the numbers are not yet available, but for like the market as a whole, 2023 we did see about $25 billion. And yeah, here we talk about the release of Radeon RX 9070 and RX 9070 XT that aims to capture a significant share of the mid-range market. And as a shareholder of AMD, obviously this is what I hope for, and I want to dive deeper in to the financials of this, whether or not this can actually make a real impact on the share price of AMD if it is a successful launch and if they gain market share in this segment from NVIDIA. So as of 2025, we can say that AMD maybe have in the GPU market about 10 to 15%. So it's really dominated by NVIDIA. So basically what AMD need to do is take back some of that market share, and we will also take into account that maybe the GPU market as a whole will grow bigger. So staying at 10 to 15% will still mean some growth for AMD and the stock price. If they can gain market share and the market as a whole for GPUs gets bigger, then they can really have an effect on the revenue. So the annual revenue for AMD as a whole was $25.8 billion with a gross margin of 49% and a net income of 1.6 billion. So this is the numbers that we need to improve with the launch here of the new graphic cards to actually see a real impact on the share price. Obviously, the share price can also grow bigger based on anticipation and expectations, etc. But we, in terms of doing an analysis on the numbers, this is what we have going into 2025. And yeah, we have a non-GAAP basis also, where the numbers are a bit higher. I will provide you someday at the channel with the difference between GAAP basis and non-GAAP basis. GAAP means General Accepted Accounting Principles. So basically that is how you account for different types of investments rules in the stock market. So basically here's nothing, just a robust financial performance. Then I ask here whether or not it can be an impact on AMD if they get an upswing here in the GPU market. Is the GPU market big enough that it will affect AMD and actually have an effect on the share price? And well, if the demand as a whole due to AI gaming and data center grows, AMD can see that a direct increase in revenue. Also, if they just keep the market share it has at the moment, it's a high margin business. So even a modest share increase could improve the profitability significantly for AMD. So that's great. Also, it has swinged a bit in the market share against NVIDIA. Here, ChatGPT says from 7.7% up to 14% right now. That number are depending on where in time the companies are doing new launches of graphic cards, etc. But anyway, if the RX 9070 series really are competitive in the like $500 to $600 segment, they could eat into NVIDIA's big market share, as they did with the Ryzen processor launches against Intel, and that would be very, very good. So if we push forward here they talk about some more products. Here we have the MI300 AI accelerators, which are like even bigger GPUs for the AI market. So in terms of raw numbers here, we have a baseline and we have different scenarios. So if we have a moderate upswing, like 20% GPU market growth, and of that AMD gains 5% more share than right now, we see the GPU market grow in size. If it's estimated to be $40 billion right now, it will grow to $48 billion with 20% market growth, meaning AMD's market share will go from 14 to 19%. This means that the gaming revenue for AMD will go from $6 billion to $9.1 billion. And also that will mean the revenue as a whole for AMD will increase to $28.9 billion. And that doesn't count for any other revenue growth, which is also going to happen for AMD, obviously, in the AI market as a whole. They are having different segments here. And if the profit margins remain stable, we could see the net income here grow from $1.6 billion to $2.5 billion, meaning a potential stock price rise in about 20 to 30%. And this is based on investor optimism that we see just in terms of the numbers here. So that is very, very impressive. And obviously that will translate into more expectations going into the future, to the future launches of even more graphic cards. We know that some 9060 series are coming for the low end market, even cheaper than the 9070 series, which can help them grow even more. So yeah, here we see actually in numbers what can happen if they really succeed with what they are trying to do right now. And by analyzing and reading the latest tests, those new graphics cards seems to be the real deal. So I'm very optimistic about that. Here we're talking about a mere boom in the market as a whole, in the graphic cards market, 50% market growth, and of that AMD gains 10% more share. That will be a GPU market growth from 40 billion to 60 billion. Could be possible. I mean, GPT is a quite smart, let's call it AI person here, and obviously takes to account a lot of possibilities. If the share for AMD jumps to 24%, that probably is a bit too much, I would say, but who knows? That segment of revenue will jump from 6 billion to 14.4 billion. It's so much for a company like AMD having that type of growth just in 1 year. And the total revenue jumps up to $34 billion then for AMD, not taking into account all other revenue gains and streams going into the company. With great margins, they could, more than double the net income based on how much net income they are generating from this type of revenue, usually. And this could mean a stock price rising just based on the graphic cards more than 50% in terms of numbers, and comparing the numbers with how much usually a stock price rises. And obviously, if the stock gets cultural momentum like Nvidia had, it can obviously gain even more, because the metrics like price per sales, etc., are quite low in comparison with Nvidia. So this next year is the year for AMD to show if they can really accelerate their potential and be like a giant like Nvidia, or if it's just going to grow a bit slower, etc. But the potential are really really good, really big. And we have the Sony PlayStation, the new Sony PlayStation coming, the new Xbox coming, more Steam Decks released, etc. So the gaming segment will get a big, huge boost from the coming generation of consoles also. And they are in the portable PC space gaining traction also with Acer and Asus, Dell, and other companies that they collaborate with. So looking interesting here. And we have some takeaways, meaning even a small market share of 5 to 10% could add billions in revenue for AMD, and a mere upswing, 50% market growth, could double AMD's gaming revenue and push its total revenue towards 35 billion plus. And this could push the stock price significantly if the investor community as a whole see AMD as a strong rival to Nvidia. So, I mean, come on, this is a great opportunity. I will just keep hold of my shares I have, my AMD shares, because this is what you want as an investor, something to look forward to. Obviously, the company has to perform. Being in the stock market always has its risks, and even if a company are meeting your expectation, delivering great results, great margins, great earnings, great future potential, in the end of the day, the stock price might go in the other way. But if you really has a long-term vision and a long-term investment horizon, usually the stock price will follow like the situation in the real life for the company, the earnings, the growth, etc. It will correct itself. So you have to be patient. But this channel, I don't really give tips for just like 3 months investing or so. It's always like the really, really long term that I'm looking for, because the market is so irrational short term, and it's a lot of things that are affecting a lot of stocks short term. So in the end of the day, it's the long term perspective that is interesting for me. And when I see this type of situation that AMD are providing us with now, with great innovation, and they are swinging against the biggest dog, Nvidia, and doing it quite good. I'm getting really hyped. So yeah, that's what I was going to talk about today. And if you have anything to say, just type a comment down, and I will just enjoy the outro of this song, and I see you next time.